So what are the symptoms of a cluttered mind, getting cluttered with all this stuff? What are these symptoms that one looks for? And what do we do about that? How do you get a handle on this? I mean, besides taking an axe to your computer, you know, what do we do? Because we're completely deluged by all of this information on every place we go. We're just driving down the street watching billboards or television. The ads are so much more faster and harder hitting. What do we do about this? How do we get a handle on it? What's a balance? How do we achieve a balance in our life that way?
Well, I think the symptoms are often that people have mind racing, that they cannot really concentrate, they're jumping from one topic to the other topic and always wonder, you know, okay, is this now important or not? It's also that there is, again, this inner restlessness that starts, the lack of being able to really relax and rest. Further on, it's then also emotional components that are just building up, because if your subconscious feels, oh my God, there is an overwhelm of information, I don't know how to handle it, it usually, you know, raises the red flags and said, you know, okay, you have to slow down. Now, the interesting phenomenon about this, and I saw this personally with myself, when I was, again, a resident and I was overloaded, my mind was plugged and clogged and full with information that I didn't know how to handle. I was not understanding that it was about getting less information. I tried actually to distract my restless mind with more activity and more things to do. And I think that's what often people are doing. Like I said, vegging out in front of the TV. It's not emptying your mind, it's filling your mind. Even reading a book that seems to be relaxing, it is still filling your mind with information. Or, you know, having new activities. So what we have to understand that the balance of input and release, of impression and expression, is often not there, and so we get more tight, you know, tightness in your chest, feeling that you become smaller, the sense of overwhelm. All those things are signs of a clogged and an overwhelmed, cluttered mind.
So decluttering or unclogging my mind, is that, do I just speak my mind to somebody? Do I, you know, how do I do that? Meditation, vacations, what do we do? And in terms of just an everyday, workaday life, what are some activities we can engage in that might help us achieve that balance?
Now, I think, you know, one thing that I want to mention is with the cluttering, that the cluttering not only occurs from the outside, it also occurs from the inside. That means that where the subconscious mind comes in. So you're getting information from the outside, and then you have the mind, the subconscious, trying to deal with this information, and you get the mind racing. So there's also this self-talk, often negative self-talk, that continues to occupy and clutter your mind. So to answer your question, we have to look at both. We have to look at the outside information, what can we do with that? And we have to look at the inside information, what can we do with that? So how do we actually bring that decluttering on both levels into a place that actually works for us?
Okay, well, first of all, let's talk about the information coming in from the outside. What's a healthy balance?
Well, when you think about that, outside information is, as I said before, the impression. It's like, you know, when you go onto the internet and you're a shopaholic and you get all this stuff and you never really unpack it. It just piles up in your house, and at some point you have nowhere to live. That's what, you know, happens with your mind. So stopping to have this information coming in and setting clear boundaries with yourself. I always advise people, have a time when you are not going to the internet or checking emails or, you know, watching even the news anymore. Just tell yourself 7:30, 8 o'clock, that's my time where I start to unwind and let my subconscious release. It's more a passive form of uncluttering, but it's a very powerful form. Just seeing, I will just go into a more deprivation of information than, again, putting so much in right before I go to bed. So if you already start with that, you're doing a great job.
Children. What do you say to parents? Would the same thing apply? Probably would be very important for children, is they just have a timeout. You know, it's like TV goes off. You know, you're done on the internet. No more video games. Your advice to parents?
Well, I think for children it's even more important, because there is this, again, as we said before, this programming on the subconscious level happening before the age of 12. The subconscious is that sponge. It's very susceptible, and whatever information comes in is taken even more serious, because there is often like a clean slate. The grooves start early on in life. So whatever you can do to help your children to make that mind not already cluttered with unnecessary or even harmful information is really, really something that's going to pay off in the future. And I believe firmly that the whole diagnosis of ADHD and ADD is something that has to do with a cluttered mind. And I feel, to be honest, very sorry for the children as they are growing up these days, because there's so much demand on the children. There's so much already happening in planning their days, and also then the information amount that comes in through, of course, the use of the internet, but also video games. There's a very interesting exercise I'm going to show you in a few minutes that actually helps children to get out of the decluttered mind, also adults, and really open the mind again. Because what happens when we have a cluttered mind is that we go into this tunnel vision. We are not seeing really the bigger picture. We are really only focusing on the detail. And that's what happens, and studies showed that, when children play video games. When they're always sitting in front of the monitor and shooting somebody up or racing a car, their mind is basically focused on that little screen and deletes and removes all the information on the outside. Now that is a state of mind that causes stress. It's a state of mind that is very narrow-minded and really also prevents people from being calm to learn and being calm to sit still. And when you think about ADHD, that is something about, you know, attention deficit and hyperactivity. These are exactly the symptoms that come from having a cluttered mind, having a narrow focused mind, and not being able to use all the capacity of your brain.